Binge eating disorder. It's also known as BED. BED is a common eating disorder where one frequently eats large amounts of food while feeling powerless to stop and extremely distressed during and after eating. Binge eating disorder typically begins at late adolescence to early adulthood, often after a major diet. Binge eating disorders differ significantly from the occasional eating behaviors associated with events like birthdays or holiday meals. For instance, a binge eater might eat 10 to 20,000 calories of food during a single binge compared to a normal diet of 1,500 to 3,000 calories in a day. During a binge, one may eat even when one is not hungry and continue eating long after being full. One may also binge so fast it barely registers what's being eaten or tasted. But unlike bulimia, there are no attempts to regularly make up for the binges through vomiting, fasting, or overexercising. A binge episode usually ends when the individual is extremely uncomfortable, is interrupted, or simply runs out of food. Typical binge foods include high-fat, high-sugar comfort foods such as chocolate or potato chips. Binge eating disorder is an ongoing psychological problem. Anxiety and depression are common to binge eating symptoms. According to the United States Department of Health and Human Services, up to 50% of all binge eaters suffer or have suffered from depression. One in the midst of BED may find that binge eating is so comforting for a brief moment, helping to ease unpleasant emotions or feelings of stress, depression, or anxiety. But then reality sets back in and one is flooded with feelings of regret and self-loathing. Binge eating often leads to overweight, gain, and obesity, but only reinforces compulsive eating. The worse one feels about oneself and one's appearance, the more food is used to cope. It becomes a vicious cycle, eating to feel better, feeling even worse, then turning back to food for relief. Binge eaters often eat alone because they're too ashamed to let others see them eat. But contrary to popular belief, weight is not necessarily a sign that one suffers from an eating disorder. Most obese people don't have binge eating disorder, but most people with binge eating disorders are overweight or obese, but not always. You don't have to be overweight to have it. As with bulimia, there is no obvious physical signs or symptoms that someone is suffering from with binge eating disorder. The severity of binge eating disorder is determined by how often episodes of binging occur during a week. Binge eating may occur on its own or with another eating disorder such as bulimia. People with bulimia, again, eat large amounts of high-calorie food, usually in secret, but then they purge. Purging refers to attempts to prevent weight gain after a binge by forcing themselves to vomit, take diuretics, laxatives, or other substances to get rid of food calories. Purging can also refer to intensively exercising to burn calories. It's complicated because the exact cause of binge eating disorders are unclear. As with anorexia, bulimia, and other eating disorders, it's likely that a variety of genetic, biological, environmental, and social factors are involved. Given the complex emotions of elements of the disease process, factors contributing to binge eating disorder will likely differ from person to person. Psychological and emotional characteristics may also contribute to the condition. A person may have low self-worth and trouble managing emotions, expressing anger, or controlling impulsive behaviors. Or she may be suffering from a loss or other trauma in her life that causes her eating behaviors to become closely intertwined with her feelings and emotion. Without question, our society is obsessed with thinness. Images of unrealistic thin models and superstar actors surround us all during the day. This can add to an already distorted body image perception, especially for women. Even people with binge eating disorders who are overweight are acutely aware of their body shape and appearance and berate themselves after eating binges. The constant reinforcement of thinness may worsen her self-image and actually lead to more frequent binging as the woman seeks relief from feelings of shame. But let's try and leave you with a better note. Because as discouraging as this may seem, and as much as one may feel powerless to break the cycle, there are plenty of things one can do to better manage emotions and regain control after eating health. Talk to a college counselor or refer to the websites located within this learning module. Thank you.